Okay, kiddos, this is your last video on verbals, and it is a verbal known as infinitive, the infinitive of a verb. So I want you to go and get your verbs, and more verbs page 18 and get something to write with. Go get that now, and then we'll start. All right. Now, we've talked about verbals called participles. You should have seen that video. We've talked about verbs called gerunds. You should have seen that video. And today we're going to talk about verbals called infinitives. And you're familiar with infinitives because when we do vocabulary and we have a verb as a vocabulary word, I always tell you to put the to in front of it. That makes the verb form an infinitive. Just simply adding to the verb makes it an infinitive. So it's very simple. Let's look at the first bullet. An infinitive is a verb form that usually has the word to in front of it, and I would say almost always. We're always going to be using the infinitive with the word to in front of it. An infinitive can be used in a sentence as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Now, don't stress too much about that because I'm not going to ask you to tell me how it's being used in a sentence because that can actually get a little bit complicated, a little bit confusing. So all I want you to know is the infinitive is the to form of a verb. And sometimes it's not being used as a verb, it's being used as another part of speech. Let's look at some examples. Bullet number 3, examples of infinitives as nouns. His goal was to reach the top of a mountain. To reach is being used as a noun in that sentence because it answers the question, what was his goal? His goal was to reach. Look at the bullet number 2. To give generously is a godly virtue. What is a godly virtue? To give generously. And actually, that infinitive is being used as the subject of that sentence. To give is the subject of the sentence. The predicate is the word is. I love to bake cookies and to give them away. I've got two infinitives in that sentence. Identify them. To bake and to give. Just look for the to form of the verb and you found the infinitive. Examples of infinitives as adverbs. He fought to prove he was not afraid. To prove is your infinitive. He sang the national anthem to signify his patriotism. To signify is your infinitive. It happens to be functioning as an adverb. God gave his son to demonstrate his love. To demonstrate is the infinitive. As I said, infinitives are very easy to find. Just look for the verb with the to in front of it. Examples of infinitives as adjectives. He wrote a song to sing on her birthday. To sing is your infinitive. Very easy to find. It happens to be used in this sentence as an adjective. The gingerbread house is to eat. To eat is your infinitive. That guitar is not to play with. To play is your infinitive. Now, all I want you to do in the next exercise is think of a to form of a verb. As a matter of fact, the easiest thing to do is to just go down to every one of those blanks and write to in it right now. Number 1, write to. Number 2, write to. Number 3, write to. All the way down to number 10. Then you're ready to put your verb in and you will have the infinitive form of that verb. So go ahead and do that. I want you just to write the little word to in each one of those blanks and then save space for the verb that you're going to choose. All right, so now fill in and do that before I say the word. See if you can beat me to the punch. He decided he wanted to blank a chemistry teacher. He decided, he made a career decision, excuse me, he made a career decision that he wanted to become a chemistry teacher. I will be happy to blank to the park with you. What could you put in there? I will be happy to walk to the park with you. I will be happy to ride to the park with you. I will be happy to go to the park with you. Number 3, the only way to find the best price is to blank the web. What verb can you put in there? To surf the web, to check the web, to go to the web. Number 4, the fundraising goal was to what? $5,000 for the equipment. To raise $5,000 for the equipment. Look at number 5. To blank is something I want to do soon. Think of something that you want to do soon and fill in that verb. Do it right now. What I have is to hang glide is something I want to do soon. And as a matter of fact, that's functioning as the subject of our sentence. Okay, now I'm going to let you do 6 through 10. And you'll turn this sheet in with your assignments for the week. So remember, we have now talked about 3 different kinds of verbals: participles, gerunds, and finally infinitives. Those are your 3 kinds of verbals that we're going to study this year. Okay, get to work. See you next time.